and welcome to another review on the Benefit of the Doud podcast slash YouTube channel slash whatever the hell this thing is. And I'm excited to welcome in my co-host, Mr. Cliff Thomas. Cliff, how you doing?
I'm all charged up and ready to go.
Are you charged and ready? That is an excellent segue. And you know, the best way to utilize a segue is to point it out. I've
That's
always
right.
found.
And
Yes,
it's also better
absolutely.
if your segue is charged so that you can ride
Yes.
it and point things out while you're riding it. I
Right.
don't know how long I can or how far I can take
Yeah,
this,
that
but
metaphor just
probably
totally
only as
fell
far
apart.
as the charging will go. As the
Yeah,
battery will
yeah,
go.
that's
Yeah.
fine.
Oh, one more thing.
But anyway, so that is what we are here. In case our viewers hadn't picked up the subtle hints that we've been dropping, we are here to review a a desk charger, and Cliff has been using this pretty much exclusively for a few weeks now. So we're gonna go ahead and throw it on over to Cliff.
Hello.
Take it away, Cliff. Hello.
Kind of wish we in another video review, I was using a mic that was kind of, I felt like a game show host. Now I kind of miss it. I don't know what to do with my hands. I know what to do with my hands. I'm gonna switch it on over to Slappy.
All right, Slappy, show us what you got, Slappy.
Let's see that like that. Like that. Like this is professional. This is what we do here.
Yeah.
And okay, there we go.
There we go.
Beautiful. Yeah, so what we have, Anker, who I'm sure everyone that is listening to this or watching this is familiar with, does a lot of accessories, including charging accessories, and they were kind enough to send us the Anker 240 watt. No, it's the Anker Prime 240 watt GAN desktop charger. I still don't remember what GAN means.
Gallium nitride, I believe.
Okay, I knew it was some form of mineral or some. And I knew it was not animal; it was mineral. So there we go.
Right? Yeah, it's a new kind of. It's like a new alloy, I believe,
Okay,
that
gotcha.
they use to basically to conduct electricity. The gist of it is you can get a lot more power for a lot smaller package.
I was going to say that
So,
what the benefit is, and I actually brought something to show you, which I'll show you in a second.
yeah.
But right, so smaller. What is it? Phenomenal cosmic power, itty bitty living space.
Yeah,
There we go.
gallium nitride.
Right,
And I think it's the trick is it's a little bit more expensive than what people have been using, but the size, really makes up for that
It
in a lot of different
absolutely
ways.
does. Although I mean, this is not. See if I can get. This is not lightweight. I mean, it is very dense. You could
It is
definitely,
also very heavy.
with the
Yeah.
including charging cable, you could swing this around and do some damage. I'll just go
You
ahead
could
and
do
put
some
that out there.
damage, huh? All right. I think is it just me, or do we need to start reading the products that we review on a damage scale that you can do if you need
It's a
to
separate
use it as
review
a
meter.
weapon? Yeah,
Separate review meter. So we'll just go ahead and turn it on over. There's not a whole lot to see here. You can see the Anker Prime upside down there.
you can see the
And then just
fingerprints
as you
all
see
over it.
on
That's
the
fun.
box,
Mhm.
you have 3 USB-C ports and 1 USB-A port. And I believe this is probably the easiest way. I was looking on the box to see the outputs, and you can see 3 of the 4 charging ports are grouped together.
Yep.
So the one on the top is the one that can give you the most output, and that, if I remember right, was 140 watts.
Sounds
Yeah,
right.
here we go. So this is again a total of 240 watts of potential output. So the top one there does up to 140 watts max, and then
Which
each
is
of
why
the
it has a
2
little picture of the computer on it.
exactly, and
Yep.
then the 2 USB-Cs are 100 watts max, and then the USB-A is up to 22.5 watts max.
Okay. And
So
then okay, go ahead.
no, I was just going to
You
say,
go.
so what's great about that is, so I, like you said, I've had this for a little bit, and this will charge just about anything I have as far as mobile devices are concerned. Whether
Mhm.
off the top there, as you said, it's labeled for a computer. It'll charge my MacBook Pro.
Oh, sure.
It'll charge, actually, the gaming laptop that I have. Although I do need the
Coming soon to a review near you.
yeah, I do still have to use, if I want to game with it, I still have to plug in the large charging brick that it came with just because of the
Mm,
CPU requires that extra power. But for, charging it overnight or something, it'll definitely do that. And then obviously,
mm,
with the 2 USB-Cs, it'll charge phones and tablets and the like.
yeah,
And then the USB-A, I generally use for like headphones and things like that if they're not wireless charging. So, but all of this in a package, you can see. I mean, here's my hand, and I have, medium-sized hands, and I can basically cover the entire thing with it. Does come with
yeah,
a nifty little stand that you can set it
yeah.
in, which is really nice. And this stand is chunky. I mean, it's metal and has a little rubber base to it, and on the inside there, and that's
Metal.
yeah, exactly, solid metal. And then I did bring, just for comparison, this is a 230 watt, I believe, charging brick for the laptop that I mentioned.
Oh
You
my
can
god.
see the
Okay.
difference.
Yeah,
Yeah, so let's
that is not subtle.
so this is not, again, charging. We can see 230 watts versus 240. Quite a big difference. Now, speaking of doing damage, you could definitely do some damage with this.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But I think more than anything, that just shows you
If the
how
zombie
much
apocalypse ever rolls around, man, we are going to be
we
so
are
well armed.
equipped. But that's
Yeah,
the
it's gonna be
point, right?
great.
So with it, that's the advantage with the GAN charger, is that it saves you a
That was
lot of
such a
size.
weird segue. If the zombie apocalypse ever rolls around, we're going to be equipped. Well, that's kind of the point.
Yes, yes, it is. That's I actually have been saving a lot of chargers so that I'll keep them in a backpack. It's like, how some people have their tornado or earthquake backpack. I have
Right,
my zombie
right.
apocalypse backpack. That, and then a machete, and
Yeah,
I'll be good to go.
yeah,
So,
exactly,
but yeah,
exactly.
no, the point of this is that with GAN, you
Still
get
laughing about that. Yeah.
lots of charging, phenomenal cosmic power, itty bitty living space. So this will
Yeah.
charge most laptops if they're not a gaming laptop while you're actually using them. And it's small enough that you can throw it in your messenger bag or your backpack or your
Oh yeah,
briefcase and take it
definitely.
along with you. And it can't be stated enough. Like, now that even when iPhones have USB-C, being able to take one charger for everything, one charger to rule them all, the
Yep.
one ring, if you will, except a charger, is so nice. And I probably, like, Thanksgiving's coming up. I'll definitely be taking this charger with me, probably
Hmm.
not with the stand, because this is a beefy boy. But
Right. Right.
I don't know what else to say except this is
Well,
really
there is
nicely
one other
made.
thing. There
Sure.
is one other thing worth talking about is if you flip it back on its back right there, so we can see the front. Those bottom three chargers all have that IQ thing with and all three of those chargers are like circled as if they're all part of the same IQ.
That's the smart charging, basically, right?
Yeah, so the smart charging with Anker, and I've sat through a few briefings with this, so I'm going to make you listen to it too. Basically, long story short, what it does is it will detect. If you plug in three devices all at once, it's going to detect which of those has the lowest amount of
Oh,
juice left, and it will focus more energy
right.
towards that device as opposed to the other two devices, which will top up more slowly. So that's really cool if you have, like, a pair of headphones and two phones, or a pair of headphones and a phone and a tablet, and you're all plugging them in at the same time, but your phone's really low. It's going to give your phone more juice
The priority.
initially to, like, more priority to top it up. The downside that I have found is I have got a couple of, in fact, I think I could probably just grab one here because it uses the same kind of technology. I'll
Gotcha.
hold that up there.
Mhm.
I've taken these on trips, and what I've done is I've typically plugged these into like a charging stand or something like that. Like I've got the Anker the cube charging stand that we actually
Right.
reviewed previously on this podcast, link in the show notes. But when I've had a device with like really low power plugged in, along with this, it actually cuts off power to the charging stand, so it doesn't
Oh,
actually like
gotcha.
charge it, or maybe it just like dropped it down to like to the point where it just wasn't charging it very effectively. Because on a charging stand like that, I usually had my Apple Watch plus the iPhone, maybe even a wireless set of earbuds too. So like that requires a lot of power to get all those
Yeah, at the same
devices
time, for
going.
sure, right.
And so if you plug something else in, it can be like, oh, well, this needs it more, and it'll like completely turn off charging on the.
So the moral of the
So
story is if you need something charged as a priority, plug it into the top one. Actually, I have found, I will say
okay.
this, that if you plug something in like a tablet or a smartphone into the top, which is the 140 watt charger, it
Hmm.
a lot of times won't charge it because I think it senses that it's something that might not be smart enough to adjust, or maybe that
Ah,
the so yeah, you won't get
okay.
it just won't charge because of that, which is like, maybe that's a good thing. The other thing I guess that I could say is kind of a downside to it is that this charging
You,
cable is not removable.
yeah, you really would like to see that.
I would, especially because, you know, maybe the charger. What if the charger isn't bad necessarily, but the cable goes bad,
What if the
and
cat
then
cat chews the cable or something like that?
exactly
Yeah,
something like that. Whoops! Just
yeah.
touch the
You'd
phone there.
like to be able to replace that without having to buy a whole other $169 charger, which, by the
Right.
way, is something that we should also mention.
Hmm.
Is the charger right now is priced at 169.99. That it has a list price of 199.99, but it's down to 169.99. And on Amazon right now, also link in the show notes, there's a $60 coupon that you can use to get this down to 109.99, which is
Now,
a much better price,
at that
obviously.
price, this is a steal, to be honest.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
As
So,
your one charger to rule them all, as we said, yeah, that's a heck
mhm.
of a deal. I mean, at that price, it's more than a stocking stuffer, I would think, for most people. But yeah, I mean, chargers aren't necessarily the sexiest or the most, like,
I get
memorable
my
thing
wife
to
free
give
for
somebody.
Christmas every year.
But
That
here's
that's
the other
also
thing. I
why I sleep on the couch.
That's why I just moved into the living room.
Yep.
But the other thing that I guess would be nice is if they included a charging cable inside the box that was
Oh,
capable of handling. Well,
yeah,
they don't include any kind of charging cable, but part of that is like not all USB-C cables are capable of handling 140 watts of charging, right?
right.
You definitely, when you're buying cables to use that, I mean, you need to do your research. They're generally more expensive. It's usually a thicker and more efficient
Something
cable.
like the Anker Bio cable that we use for our
Exactly.
Earth Day special, link in the show notes. I have no idea if this will handle
I think
140
it is
watts or not.
actually.
I
I
think it
checked that.
does. Yeah. Yeah,
But
but
the one that I got was a lightning cable, and so that doesn't help me there anymore since I have
yeah,
a USB-C
actually,
iPhone.
yeah,
But
sorry about that.
no worries. So so that's just something to keep in mind. It's not a big deal, but at $169, it would be nice if they included a cable in the box for that. But
Yeah, that's
no
true.
big deal. I guess they're assuming that you already have a cable that was included with the device you're trying to charge to handle it. So
Yeah, but especially like especially when like you said, you want to make sure that someone has the capability of using this cable to its maximum, or is using the charger to its maximum efficiency. That would be nice, actually.
yeah,
Now that you mentioned, now I'm mad about it. No, I'm just kidding. Um,
especially when Anchor, well, actually, you can look at it two ways, especially when Anchor is such an expert when it and when it comes to cables and provides such high quality cables. You'd kind of like one in the box, but at the same time, because they sell cables, I guess maybe that's why it's not in the box.
maybe that's the point. I get it.
I will say
Okay.
that
But, yeah.
again, not a big deal. It's just one of those things you can see it. It's kind of a fingerprint magnet.
Yeah, I mentioned that at the top of the episode. I don't know if you heard me because you were maneuvering and whatnot, but yeah, you
I
can
did
see the
not, but yeah,
fingerprints on there. Yeah.
it definitely is. And I wiped this down before we started recording. And here we are. But that's okay. I mean, again, I this is an awesome product, as Anchor products in my experience across the board typically are. It's a high quality charger, and it is now my charger of choice when I travel, or even when I keep this in my living room actually, and it's kind of like the when the Wi-Fi and the kid and I need to charge something at the same time, this will handle a lot of it. So,
Exactly, exactly. So yeah, and like you said, there's not much more that you can say
oh, I can tell you one thing.
about a desktop charger. Yeah.
People have stepped on the on the cable when it's just hanging off quite a few times and popped this off the table out of its
Uh-oh.
little
Okay.
out of this, and it has survived with, like a champ. So it's
Good to
definitely
know.
made really well. I mean,
Yeah.
I can't imagine there's that many moving parts, but it does have a board in there for regulating things and capacitors and things like
Oh,
that, and
sure. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
no, it just feels like the solid chunk of zombie killing metal that it came like it was when it came out of the box.
Well, and that's I mean, if this podcast is about anything, it's about solid hunks of killing metal.
That might be the
But
title of this review.
yeah, it will not be. So that's going to do it for this episode of the podcast. Please consider subscribing to this channel if you enjoy it by hitting that subscribe button so you can be notified of new episodes and reviews as they drop, because you're also going to smash that bell. Also, be sure to like this video because we love that kind of feedback. And if you want some early access, jump onto Patreon at patreon.com/benefit of the Doud. I'd like to thank co-producer Cliff for all of his hard work behind the scenes and for walking us through the Anker Prime 240 USB-C desktop charger. But most of all, and as always, I would like to thank you for listening and for giving us the benefit of the Doud.